You must not cheat the poor man. You see all that material there. So that, I think, is the virtue of the Hebrew contribution to mankind. Not all the other stuff. I think the prophets and these things, they were the first people to really care seriously and build it into their system of belief about justice and righteousness. I don't think the Romans cared a fig about such things, and I frankly don't think the Hindus cared very much about it. They're more interested in purity and other worldly issues and so on and so forth. Justice and righteousness, that's why so many Jews are into social causes. That's why in the beginning of the last century you had so many Jewish socialists, because they learned this in their mother's milk, if you want to say. They had learned this caring about justice from their mother's milk in these documents. I don't know what else you can learn from it. And there it is, what you were talking about, 23:19. You must not boil a kid in its mother's milk. That's what you were talking about, right? Yeah. Well, I don't. It has to do with. I don't know if there was a hidden meaning to it, but I certainly don't see anything here about that. So we're not going to drive them out. We're going to, and archaeology has shown that in the period of supposedly the conquest, it doesn't look like there was a lot of destruction. There is layers of destruction earlier and later, but in the period of the conquest that we put around 1300 BC or so, it doesn't seem to be. But I don't always trust archaeologists. So I don't know if they're as smart as they think they are, but I'm sure there was some destruction. This is destruction at Jericho, but whether it's from this period or a later, earlier period, you'd have to look at the archaeology of Jericho to decide. Anyway, let's see what happens here. Now, 24. To Moses he said, "Come up to Yahweh yourself." But I thought he was already up there. You see this? We get one layer stitched upon another layer. And now he's taking Aaron and Nadav and Abihu and the 70 elders of Israel with him. But I thought he was already up talking to God a moment ago. So he never went down. It's just, this is an impossible book to follow. I can't even begin. I would have to take weeks to sort it out for you. The way I did Exodus, and I don't have time. But here's another tradition. This looks Yahwehist. He's going to take Aaron and the elders and Aaron's family up with him. And then it says here, Moses went and told the people all the commands of the Lord. But you see, then he alone approaches Yahweh. And then he comes back and tells all the people all the commands. And he put the commands into writing. And he built an altar of 12 standing stones for the 12 tribes of Israel. Notice these altars. If you've been to England, have you seen the standing stones in England? If you go to England, you should look at all the stone circles in England. So many early religion had these stone circles. Stonehenge is one of them. It's just a very, very big one. There's stone circles all over England and Scandinavia. There's stone circles like this in the Sinai Desert. I've seen them. Old Stone Age stone circles. Moses is portrayed here as doing this. Joshua will be portrayed as making a stone circle when he crosses the Jordan. And that place will be Gilgal, which means circle of stone in Hebrew. Now, I'm sure there was a circle of stones there, but I think probably it was there from a much earlier period. And it's just been adopted by the Hebrews from the Stone Age period. But anyway, it's called Gilgal, which in Hebrew means circle or wheel. And that's Joshua's camp when he crosses, and he puts the stones there. We'll see. But here's a case where Moses puts the stones, 12 standing stones. Joshua's going to put 12 standing stones by the Jordan River. This is basically a mini Stonehenge. And again, probably a tradition associated with this particular shrine. He took the blood and he said, "This is the blood of the covenant from this Holocaust." And then the 70 elders, then he did go up with them. And there was sapphire stone, and they all gazed on God and they drank. That's this incredible one here in 9/11. But look, line 12. Yahweh said to Moses, "Come up on the mountain." What's going on? We just went up, didn't we? How many times? I I can't even begin to chronicle it, up and down, up and down, up and down, because I think they're splicing all kinds of traditions. Each group is getting their little say in here. And couldn't even begin to unravel this for you. But most people don't pay attention, but if you start to read this, you'll see that it doesn't have any narrational sense or flow at all. And I will give you the stone tablets of all the commandments that I have written for your instructions. What? We just heard that Moses wrote them all. Do you see that's a contradiction right there? I don't even have to take a minute. Look, line 4, it says, Moses put all the commands of Yahweh into writing. Or the next morning he built an altar. Well, then line 12, come up the mountain. I'll give you the stone tablets of commandments that I have written for their instruction. God speaking to Moses. And here, who's with him? And who was with him in the other tradition? Aaron's sons, and the elders. So these are two competitive traditions, spliced together again. I don't know where the seams are, by the way, but I can tell you, the seams. Now, if you go to a religious person who reads the Old Testament or into a church or synagogue and ask them about these things, they'll look at you dumbfounded, won't they? They don't have a clue what you're talking about, and they claim to read the Bible carefully. We can read the Bible once and see all these things, but you see, they don't see it because they're not tuned in. They don't want to see it. They're looking for something else, inspiration. They're not looking at the text as a logical text. They're looking for inspiration. There may be, I'm not saying there isn't inspiration, it's beautiful stuff. But there's a lot of overlap and a lot of different traditions, and here's another one. This one now has Joshua being the servant. And wait here, you and Aaron and Hur. So her and Aaron, that's a similar tradition to the one we had before, about her and Aaron holding up his arm. So that could, I'm sure you could probably splice some of these back together. And the cloud covered the mountains, and there were 6 days, and he was up there for 40 days and 40 nights. And so here suddenly we get a whole law revealed again. We had one earlier. Now this is all the temple law that's being revealed here. And we did all this last time. Look at line 20 of 27. You are to order the sons of Israel to bring pure olive oil for the light and to keep the flame burning in perpetuity. Aaron and his sons are to set the flame in the tent of meeting outside the veil before the testimony. It must burn there before Yahweh from evening to morning in perpetuity. This is an irrevocable ordinance to be kept by the sons of Israel. Well, there's no, that is like, hey, I told you about my friend Paul, and whatever he has to say, let me see.